My dear students of class 3, today we shall do revision work from the story Hansel and Gretel, that is unit 3, and we shall also do revision from grammar, correct the errors, which I had already explained previously. Now, do you remember the story of the two siblings Hansel and Gretel? Yes, Hansel and Gretel were the children of a poor woodcutter. Times were very hard, and there came a day when there was nothing to eat. So the woodcutter decided to take the children to the forest and leave them there, in the hope that a rich nobleman out hunting would find them and they would get food and shelter. When they had gone deep into the forest, the woodcutter lit a fire so that the children could lie down and go to sleep. Then he went away. Hansel and Gretel woke up. Night had fallen. They couldn't see their father. Tears rolled down their eyes. They were very much scared. They knew that it was not possible for them to find their way home in the dark. They were hungry and helpless. The next day, they walked for a long time in search of food and shelter. At last, they came across a pretty little house. The roof of the house was made of chocolate, the walls of currant bread, and the windows of white sugar. They were very much hungry, so they broke off a currant bread. Just then an old woman appeared on the doorstep and offered them food and shelter. They were very happy to get such an offer, but they didn't know that the woman was a witch. She put Hansel in a cage and made Gretel do all the household work. Each morning the witch would feel Hansel's finger to feel if he had gained weight. But Hansel used a trick to make the witch fool. Every morning he held out a bone for her to feel, not his finger. Being short-sighted, the witch couldn't see the bone. Why is he still thin? She thought. She waited for some days to make Hansel fatter. But one day she lost her patience. She decided to eat Hansel. She asked Gretel to build a fire and boil a huge cauldron of water. Gretel made a plan. She asked the witch to taste if the water was hot enough. Then she crept up behind the witch and pushed her into the cauldron. Hansel was saved and they were safely back home with treasures from the house. Now I hope you remembered the story. I've already given and discussed some questions and answers. Now let's revise those questions and answers one more time. So answer the following questions. Answer the following questions. Question number 1. Why were Hansel and Gretel taken to the forest by their father? Why were Hansel and Gretel taken to the forest by their father? You know the answer very well. Hansel and Gretel were taken to the forest by their father in the hope that a rich nobleman out hunting would find them. Their father had nothing to feed them. I repeat, Hansel and Gretel were taken to the forest by their father in the hope that a rich nobleman out hunting would find them. Their father had nothing to feed them. Now question number 2. It's an easy one. Describe the house that the children saw in the forest. Describe the house that the children saw in the forest. The house that the children saw in the forest was a pretty one. The roof of the house was made of chocolate, the walls of currant bed, and the windows of white sugar. I'd like to repeat, the house that the children saw in the forest was a pretty one. The roof of the house was made of chocolate, the walls of currant bread, and the windows of white sugar. Now next one. How did Hansel make the witch fool? How did Hansel make the witch fool? Being very short-sighted, the witch couldn't see Hansel holding out a bone for her to feel, not his finger. This way he could save himself for some days. Being very short-sighted, the witch couldn't see Hansel holding out a bone for her to feel, not his finger. This way he could save himself for some days. Now question number 4. How did Gretel trick the witch? How did Gretel trick the witch? Means how did she befool the witch? Do you know the answer? Yes. Gretel asked the witch to test if the water in the cauldron was hot enough. Then what did she do? Yes, then she crept up behind the witch and pushed her into the cauldron. So the answer will be, Gretel asked the witch to taste if the water in the cauldron was hot enough. Then she crept up behind the witch and pushed her into the cauldron. Now question number 5. What did you learn from the story Hansel and Gretel? What did you learn from the story from Hansel and Gretel? Actually, the kids were in danger, but they could save themselves. Yes. So we learned from the story Hansel and Gretel that we shouldn't lose hope and we should apply presence of mind when we are in danger. Let me repeat. We learned from the story Hansel and Gretel that we should not lose hope and we should apply presence of mind when we are in danger. Followed? Okay. Now let's discuss some short questions and answers. Some short questions and answers. Question number 1. Whom did the woodcutter live with? Whom did the woodcutter live with? It's very easy. The woodcutter lived with his wife and his son and daughter, Hansel and Gretel. The woodcutter lived with his wife and his son and daughter, Hansel and Gretel. Now, question number 2. Who came out of the pretty house? What did she offer? So, who came out of the pretty house? An old woman came out of the pretty house. She offered Hansel and Gretel both food and shelter. What did she offer? She offered Hansel and Gretel both food and shelter. Now question number 3. Why did the witch put Hansel in a cage? Why did the witch put Hansel in a cage? So what will be the answer? Yes, the witch put Hansel in a cage to make him fatter by feeding him and eat him up in the end. Once again, the witch put Hansel in a cage to make him fatter by feeding him and eat him up in the end. Now next one. What did the witch do every day? What did the witch do every day? Each morning the witch would feel Hansel's finger to see if he had gained weight, so that she could eat him up in the end. I repeat, each morning the witch would feel Hansel's finger to see if he had gained weight, so that she could eat him up in the end. Now question number 5. What did the children get from the house? What did the children get from the house? What did they do with them? The children got treasures from the house. They gathered all the treasures and took them home. So the children got treasures from the house. They gathered all the treasures and took them home. So now I have discussed all the questions and answers again and again. Now I hope you can easily write the answers. Now let's move on to the objective type questions. You can do it on your own. Question number 1. Write the opposites of the following words. Write the opposites of the following words. Pretty, never, tiny, hard, appear. Then number 2. Make sentences with the following words. Make sentences with the following words. Woodcutter, hungry, cage, lost. Woodcutter, hungry, cage, lost. Question number 3. Write the meanings of the following words. Write the meanings of the following words. Rescued, patience, wondered, huge, treasures. I repeat, rescued, patience, wondered, huge, treasures. Now question number 4. Correct the errors in the following sentences and rewrite them. Correct the errors in the following sentences and rewrite them. The walls of the house were made of cookies. Number 2. The witch put Gretel in a cage. The witch put Gretel in a cage. Each morning, the witch would feel Hansel's nose. Each morning, the witch would feel Hansel's nose. Then number 4. The witch asked Hansel to build a fire. The witch asked Hansel to build a fire. Number 5. Hansel and Gretel came across a big house. Hansel and Gretel came across a big house. Now question number 5. Answer the following in one word. Answer the following in one word. 1. He lived with his wife and 2 children. He lived with his wife and 2 children. Number 2. The roof of the house was made of it. The roof of the house was made of it. Number 3. Gretel pushed her into the cauldron. Gretel pushed her into the cauldron. Number 4. She was made to do all the household work. She was made to do all the household work. Number 5. The woodcutter left the children in this place. The woodcutter left the children in this place. Now question number 6. Who said these words and to whom? Who said these words and to whom? Why is he still thin? Why is he still thin? Now 7. Fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. Number 1. Dash were very hard. Dash were very hard. Number 2. The old woman offered Hansel and Gretel dash and dash. The old woman offered Hansel and Gretel dash and dash. Number 3. The woodcutter left the dash in the dash. The woodcutter left the dash in the dash. Number 4. The dash was very short-sighted. The dash was very short-sighted. Number 5. Gretel pushed the witch into the dash. Gretel pushed the witch into the dash. Now let's move on to the grammar part, that is, correct the errors. This is very much interesting as here you get a chance to find different kinds of grammatical errors or mistakes in the given sentences. You know, it might be in prepositions, in verbs, it might be in word order, in conjunctions, in spellings, in articles, or anything else. You already know how to find errors in a sentence. Always read the entire sentence. When looking for the errors, examine each choice individually. Check verbs and pronouns first, since they are the most likely to include errors. So please go through the sentences and try to find out the errors. As the part of the revision, I would like to give you an assignment that you must do. Correct the errors in the following sentences. Correct the errors in the following sentences. Let's start with an easy one. The train will depart in 8 p.m. The train will depart in 8 p.m. So here the error is with the preposition. The correct preposition will be at. So you will have to rewrite the sentence. It will be like this. The train will depart at 8 p.m. The train will depart at 8 p.m. Number 2. One of my friend is sick. One of my friend is sick. Now, here could you find the mistake? Okay. Whenever you use the expression one of, the noun must be plural, but the verb must be singular. Here, the noun is friend and the verb is. So, the correct one will be one of my friends is sick. One of my friends is sick. Number 3. I've loved classical music ever since I was child. I've loved classical music ever since I was child. When using a noun, we need an article. So, the correct one is I have loved classical music ever since I was a child. I was a child. But while using an adjective, we don't need an article. Like, I have loved classical music ever since I was young. I was young. Young is an adjective. So no need to use an article before young. Number 4. The principal were late for the meeting. The principal were late for the meeting. Here we have a singular subject, the principal. So we need a verb that goes with a singular subject. The corrected version would be the principal was late for the meeting. The principal was late for the meeting. So in this way you will have to find the errors in the sentences given. Okay. Number 5. One of these egg was rotten. One of these egg was rotten. Number 6. Tina is afraid from cats. Tina is afraid from cats. Number 7. Divided between the children in the class. Divided between the children in the class. Number 8. The boys is playing football. The boys is playing football. Number 9. Mr. Gupta is my aunt. Mr. Gupta is my aunt. Number 10. We are playing tennis every day. We are playing tennis every day. Number 11. The room was crowded with pieces of furnitures. The room was crowded with pieces of furnitures. Number 12. There are many photos on the wall. There are many photos on the wall. Number 13. Raghav could not go to school, so he was ill. Raghav could not go to school, so he was ill. Number 14. Mr. Smith is an honest man. Mr. Smith is an honest man. Number 15. Please buy me an umbrella. Please buy me an umbrella. Number 16. My mother loved me. My mother loved me. Number 17. These flowers has a very nice smell. These flowers has a very nice smell. Number 18. When will Nita go to Chennai? When will Nita go to Chennai? Number 19. Babli have dance classes in Fridays. Babli have dance classes in Fridays. Last one. Andy is fast and Sunny is slow. Andy is fast and Sunny is slow. So that's all for today, children. Please do the assignments given. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.